Prabhupada said, renunciation is only possible along with realization. And he gave a process for that. So brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa. That's generally the process for most of the people. Grihastha ashram has just a field of realization, that's all. I hoped, then I hoped like this. You speak to any serious grihastha devotee, he can give you a whole range of frustrations, nicely described. And he is smiling. Yes, yes. I just found one in Sweden. It was going for 20 years. Just found one and just very exciting discovery. So Prabhu, how is it? How was the last 20 years? He was always thinking about preaching. Somewhere, always down the road. Like he bought a big house, like little castle. He had the money, little bit money, something like that. So he bought a big castle. Just the living room was 90 square meters. 4.5 meters high. I told him so, because he was thinking that would be people coming and it would be preaching. Preaching with who? There was nobody there. So the only realization was that he got cold feet. Because, all the heat was on the ceiling. You don't heat such a huge space. And he was sitting there alone. And he got the realization, this I will never do again. Now he's sitting in a room 2 times 3 meters and he's happy. And he's still interested in preaching. But he will never get himself in a situation again where he sits in a huge castle alone. It is practical. He's sitting there with his wife. And he goes, in front of the wife, he tells me, "You see my wife? She likes all these things I don't like. She likes horses. Horses mean nothing to me. They're just 4-legged, stinky creatures who pass through." And the wife was like, she was not very happy to hear all this. And he said, "But we live together." Yes. And you know what he does? And that devotee Parikota was such a sweet discovery, because he said, and after all this sharing the misery of Grihastha days, could we do one thing? Let's chant together for 10 minutes. So he pulls up the cards and we always make a little kirtan together after every conversation when you visit him. Then he goes, "This was a nice conversation." He just wrote to me, "When are you coming back?" Because places like, example, Sweden, is to find somebody who can make kirtan, it's really special. There's not so many people to start with. It's not like in India, you go on the street and go, "Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna," and there's maybe 1,000 people. Me, Krishna, also Krishna. Me, I also Krishna. And everybody takes kind of part. In Sweden, you can stand on the street and chant, and people will not even get the eye contact is impossible. If you meet somebody. It's not always like that, but very difficult, very different. So to preach in such a place. Therefore, in such a places, prasadam can reach very quickly people with prasadam. Nowadays we have the internet. Okay, why not use that? Fine. But internet is something which is so corrupted. So much information coming out of that you disappear in that huge amount of information. And it doesn't carry the personal feature. But it can transmit information, that's good. It can create a contact possibility. But Prabhupada said, I'm spreading this movement by traveling. This Prabhupada was dying, he said, my only misery is I cannot travel anymore. And he still planned for that. This trip to England, the last trip he made, was completely spontaneous. He could have died easily on that trip alone. He was already half dead. But he said, no, I like to travel. And he wanted to go on. England was just the beginning. From there he wanted to go to America and all this. But it was completely impossible with this broken body. But still the idea was that he said, I'm simply sustaining this movement by my presence. He said, I cannot speak anymore, you will speak, but I will be present. Yeah. And in one sense it's still like that. I mean, for us, Lord Chaitanya would be just pure mystery without Prabhupada. He would follow the description in the one British dictionary, where under Lord Chaitanya you find the Indian sand who went mad and jumped in the ocean. That's the British understanding of Lord Chaitanya. I remember I visited one Sanskrit professor in Berlin once, who was translating Bengali books, he knew Bengali. And he had all set of Chaitanya Charitamrita already. But he asked me, very quite humbly he asked me, I still don't understand, who was this Chaitanya? Because without devotional service, Krishna says, you will not understand. You have to be engaged in practical devotional service. And that's what Prabhupada gave us. So there's extremes. If you don't study, don't know anything, just chant, it's a great tendency to become Sanatya. That's the one extreme. And the other extreme is just study and dry. Lord Chaitanya himself said, he attacked that. He said, they are just simply eating dry cookies with no fat, no juice in it. There's no fat, just crackers. Not very tasty. So Prabhupada makes a synthesis, I suppose. Ultimately the taste must prevail, because without taste, well. The world is full of people who are studying and learning and pretty good in talking sometimes. Then what? Either they have a big talk, because that's the emotional outlet. I saw it. Or one blonde girl comes in and they are finished. all speech, the whole full of influence. But Prabhupada gave us a very peaceful way to go about these things. It is in one sense peaceful, the process, but we are not peaceful. It's the idea we have to set ourselves right, me, my. We don't connect the concept of me and mine, that actually we could also think this is me, I'm a devotee, this is my Krishna consciousness. Well, that's a pretty elevated form of selfishness, but still it's a selfishness. And this is what got completely demolished when you came in Prabhupada. There was no me and mine. It was just Prabhupada. And he told you who's you and what you should do. It was so easy, It was a luxury to have such a life. You just look, if you would see how devotees were watching Prabhupada, every movement. Prabhupada didn't say very often even much. He just looked. And the look was a lecture in itself. It was either he was pleased or displeased or tolerant. Because he knew that the desire of a disciple is so strong, you cannot stop it right now. He will become offensive, he will oppose. So he said, you have my blessing. But when he said like this, an intelligent person would immediately understand, well, he's just tolerating because I want it. And there were devotees who were actually very intelligent enough. They said, well, Prabhupada, when you say it like this, then I don't want to do it. And Prabhupada said, what do you want to do? But actually the real question was, will you listen what I'm telling you? And the devotee said, I don't want anything. You tell me. And Prabhupada tested sometimes. He said, but what about if you don't like what I tell you? No, I will like anything you tell me. Really? Yes, everything, I swear, please tell me. Prabhupada said, I think you should do what you like. No! Please! It was like a drama, you know. When this was fully established, Prabhupada knew he will do it. And he said it. It was usually very simple. Very simple. Usually it was about vocations. Very often about vocations. Shall I go now to India? Or shall I stay here? And shall I serve here? And this and that. And Prabhupada, he was always like. And for those who were really serious, who were ready to do what he said, well, they got the full doses. Rascal! I told you to do this! I'm just reading last days of Prabhupada. Even though Krishna Maharaj was really staying with him to the last minute, he got it all the time. Prabhupada chastising him for agreeing with him. He said, you have no brain, you don't understand anything, and you say, yes Prabhupada, but you don't understand anything. So don't do this. Don't say, yes, it will be done. You don't even know what is supposed to be done. In other words, ask. And when you are really get the picture, you say, yes, I will do that. But you are, yes, Prabhupada, and you don't know one thing. So then Tamal was going, should I say no, Prabhupada? That's actually it. You should say no, and then you should ask, and then when you understand, you should say yes. I was really demanding. You couldn't be even surrendered on your own terms. Nothing. Prabhupada really want to know. But that's where you came very close to it. Otherwise, when somebody said, Prabhupada, I would like to preach in the North Pole, I like Eskimos. You know, I was like, yes, with my blessing. That's when the preaching is there. And this is what we like about book distribution. Because book distribution automatically introduces this. It's not my idea to distribute these books. This is not my books. This is, actually I hate this. You know, to go out there and be kicked on my face because I approach somebody with a book. You know, there's nothing from me in it. What do I get out of this? It was immediately established. They were Prabhupada was so pleased. And he very rarely was heavy with Sankirtan devotees or with book distributors. He just shared with them Krishna consciousness, but he was very friendly. It was the major reason I ended up in that department, because I knew this is the least chance to get trouble with Prabhupada. to give him trouble. That's the least. That's the best place I can be, not to give him so much trouble. I still gave him trouble enough, but not so much. Otherwise, Prabhupada, when you study his management and this, always trouble. Because devotees doing this and going over there and all this. But last time, I told him to be in New York. Prabhupada in San Francisco, what are you doing there? Well, Prabhupada, I'm preaching. It gave so much headache to Prabhupada, constantly control these people who were just flipping around and going around wherever they wanted. It's hippie, There's some more comments? Questions? But then today will be more. So Lord Chaitanya established, actually there's one last point I want to mention. Lord Chaitanya established a clear mathematical formula. The more you give, the more you get. This is spiritual mathematics. In a material sense, when you give, then you have less. But according to Lord Chaitanya, the more you give, the more you get. So Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj told Srila Prabhupada, if you give Krishna consciousness to others, it will be good for you and good for them. Materially it doesn't make any sense. It's like materialist problem. We should today have a Go Purnima, with a big entrance fee here, and just give you guarantee if I would boil it down with all the energies and all the boga being spent, flowers, everything. Everybody coming in the door should pay at least 350 Danish kroner. It's not happening, right? And still it's going on. This is the nature of this movement. Somewhere it will always go on. Prabhupada started like big feasts in a very early stage. You know, he was even cooking himself. I never found out where he got Ebola for, you know. It was big feasts. Sunday feast was 150 hippies sitting there. And just eating, doing nothing. Just eating. And he said, give. I just read he was chastising Gopal Krishna Maharaj for trying to save money in book production, getting even cheaper paper, and delaying the process in this way. Prabhupada said, book production and, you know, book print, and this, just spend it all. You know, it doesn't mean wasting money actually. It means, you know, not, you know, pushing on the right point. If you push on the right point, then Krishna will respond. And then Mami don't have these problems. Not much. But still it's going on. Why? Because the preaching spirit is still here. If that is maintained, everything stops, and the whole thing gets imploded, you know. All this me and mine, which can happen sometimes in the name of Shastric studies too. It's like undoubtedly Srila Prabhupada's got very smart, very learned personalities. Thinking more learned as Prabhupada. Very used to be like that. Now things changed. Why? Well, Prabhupada was just selling medicine, you know, making business. So he got the understanding of the Shastra flow. How did he understand? He was just selling medicine. Prabhupada said, whatever we got from preaching. Because Prabhupada was one who got himself on the road, addressing people. Preaching means austerity. You talk to people you don't want to talk to. You live with people. He lived even with people which he didn't have to live with. He could be peacefully situated in Vrindavan. No, he was living with crazy hippies. And then Krishna came. So it's automatically included the economic. You never find in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then they were going shopping Boga. And Lord Chaitanya said, we need more money to pay electricity or something. You never find this. It's like one continuous feast, the whole thing. How come? I always wonder, the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's not one mentioning some anxiety regarding location or place of residence or economy and nothing. Everybody is just chanting. It's quite amazing, this kind of sends over the message, you know, that if we are really doing something right, but of course in the West you have the problems. You have very obstinate atheistic society. Very, very, you know, think, well, ultimately it's like this. Krishna goes, as you surrender to me, I reveal myself to you. Even preachers, even Prabhupada said on certain occasions, he said, close down the whole thing. Especially when the view came in an environment which was so inimical towards Krishna consciousness that they were even threatening devotees physically. Prabhupada said, then we shouldn't go there. They didn't deserve Krishna consciousness in that sense. So why should we go there? Maybe a time will change. Maybe another time, it's more opportune moment. But we are not going to risk lives of our devotees like this. Still it was done. There were many devotees risking their lives. But not unlimited. Prabhupada was hesitant. He was also hesitant, many times repeated in his letters and in his conversations. He was hesitant to attract unlimited amount of people. He said, no, we want quality. But we can affect unlimited amount of people. That's a fact. That we can do. But in a physical sense, and it's already here. Just enlarge the heating system here for a few meters and we get the electricity bill like hell coming in. That's the major reason why that thing is like this. It's immediately connected to some trouble. We are very limited in these platforms. But affecting people, going out and affecting people, others with prasada and chanting and the whole thing, that you can do with very small amount of manpower. Prabhupada ki
Jai.